I'm Batman. Sorry, I had to say it one time. Anyway, welcome back everyone to Reimagined series, where we reimagine things. Anyway, so, Batman. If you haven't heard of him, yes you have. But what you might not know is the sheer ton of Batman content that exists. Assuming you're not a hardcore Batman fan, there's still so much with tons of shows, dozens of games, hundreds of comics. It's endless. And I'm sure what most of you casual fans know, movies. So many movies, so many great Batman movies, and it's honestly pretty impressive, especially with how many of them there are. I know, depending on who you ask, some of them are misses, maybe it's two, maybe it's three, but regardless, so many of them are seen as masterpieces by so many people. It takes so much passion, and hard work, and skill from hundreds of people just to make one of these films. Then you have an idiot like me who tries to do it. That's right, I am making my very own Batman film in the form of video. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you know that usually for these videos I take already existing films and reimagine them into something better. Not this time. I'm going to be making this Batman film completely original, not based off any other Batman films, not a sequel or prequel, not even a pitch for the new DC universe. This will be a completely original Batman film made by me and based off nothing except for the Batman comics. And some of the shows also I took a little inspiration from one or two of the shows. The games too, some of the games I took a little bit of inspiration from it. I guess the movies too. Anyway, now before we begin, one quick thing. I usually, for these kind of videos, go over a brief / detailed explanation of what the story is for this film I'm reimagining. Not this time. I'm going to be going over specific character story arcs and the general theme and tone of the film, instead of just the story like I usually do. Anyway, but that's enough talking about the video. Let's talk about a grown man who wears pajamas. Let us begin reimagining a Batman film. When I thought about what tone I wanted this film to have, I thought about which Batman film I wanted to take a little bit of inspiration from, as for the tone. But then I thought, why not take inspiration from all the other Batman films? Their general vibe and theme, they're all unique, they're all different. So I wanted to take inspiration from all of them. I want the detective tone of Matt Reeves' Batman, the realistic tone of Christopher Nolan's Batman, and even the kinda silly tone of Tim Burton's Batman. And through combining all these tones, I think it would be cool to see this movie make up its own mashup kind of tone. Now, for the setup of this film, I wanted this Batman to still be starting out in his crime-fighting career. He'll only be Batman for almost a year, although he will have relationships with Commissioner Gordon, Alfred, and most importantly, Robin. That's right, I am putting Robin in this film. I know the last time Robin was in a Batman film sucked, but I think you can make a great Batman film with Robin in it. I think Robin deserves another chance. So I put him in. As for which Robin, I'm gonna get to that later. Now, back to the story. This film, like I said, Batman in this film is going to be still getting the hang of being Batman, a good Batman. And this film is going to challenge Bruce into being a good Batman. More specifically, the villains of this film. Now, I put a lot of thought into the villains of this film. And I decided to go with Catwoman. Yes, I know, she's in every single Batman film series ever been made. I know. But, to be fair, She is in almost every single Batman film series ever made. I know she's been used a lot, but it's Catwoman. She is basically the most iconic female comic book villain there is. And with her relationship she has with Batman, it makes more sense to have her appear in earlier films than later on. So, I'd side on her. Second, the main villain of this film, Two-Face. Now, first off, I know this also isn't the first time Two-Face has appeared on film, but this will be the first time Two-Face is a main villain. There's a lot to his story, and I feel that it's worth the main villain spot of a film. So I put him in. And for our third villain, it will actually be a surprise villain, Killer Croc. That's right, I put a Batman villain that has never been in a Batman film before in this film. I think. Now that I think about it, I didn't look it up. Anyway, let's get into the story. Or more specifically, Harvey's story. Clarification, Harvey is Two-Face. Anyway, so this film will start at Harvey's funeral. Everyone thinks he's dead. Bruce attends this funeral, being pretty close friends with him in recent years. He's known him as long as he's been Batman. They've grown a close relationship. Until, of course, the building he was in one night at work caught on fire, mysteriously. This would really weigh heavy on Bruce throughout the entire film, not being able to save him at the beginning, finding out that he's Two-Face and having to fight him at the end. Throughout this whole film, Bruce will really be challenged by this. It will weigh on him hard, and it will be his first real big obstacle into becoming Batman. Which is why learning to trust is going to be Batman's story arc throughout this whole entire film. He's going to have to learn to trust Alfred and Gordon and Robin if he's going to succeed at being the best Batman he can be. In fact, the main reason I put Robin in this film was because of the story arc that Batman will be going through, learning to trust. Robin hasn't become a Robin yet at the beginning of this film. Batman won't let him be Robin yet. Not because he doesn't necessarily trust him, but he doesn't trust himself in protecting Robin, afraid that the same thing will happen with Harvey. But with some disobedience, Robin will become Robin and help Batman learn to trust him more. Trust him into being Robin. I'll reveal which Robin I'm talking about later. Don't worry, just hang on a little bit longer. Now, as for right now, let's take a little break from Bat Family and focus on another side character that we haven't gotten into yet. Selina. Selina is the name of Catwoman. Anyway, Selina's story in this film will be her trying to get back something that was stolen from her by Two-Face's gangs, which will lead her to meet Batman for the first time. Batman will try to tell her to stay out of it for her own safety, of course. And Catwoman will disobey him and go off and do her own thing, of course. At first, Selina would just make assumptions, assuming Batman is just some rich kid seeking vengeance and enjoys beating up criminals. But after a while, she'll start to understand that there's a lot more to him than she first thought. And same goes for Batman. He will also assume that she was just a cat burglar that just gets a kick out of stealing, but her motives are a lot less joyful, a lot more a necessity for surviving in Gotham City. It's not the easiest living in this city, and she's had to do what she's had to live in it. This would really teach Batman a lot more about the city and what he needs to be. Now, of course, their relationship would grow and develop throughout many sequels of Batman films to come. This first film would only really be our first little taste of their relationship. Grow throughout many other Batman installments and shows and short films. That'll come much later. Maybe. I'll think about it. Anyway, let's move on to our main villain of this film, Two-Face. Now, like I said, at the beginning of this film, we'll see Harvey dead. So, most of his backstory is going to be through Bruce's dialogue and some of his flashbacks, where we'll see him and Harvey as really good friends. Bruce would be one of Harvey's biggest supporters for his campaign, as Harvey would be running for mayor. But, unfortunately, Harvey wouldn't win, and he would later find out that the votes were rigged against him. And we did find out he was shot by some thugs who were hired to kill him. Then they lit the building on fire and let it seem like an accident. But Harvey didn't die. Harvey would be broken throughout the entirety of this film. Would spend it finding all the crooks he could find and killing the gang that wronged him. And Mayor who rigged the votes against him in the first place. Batman will be holding out hope throughout this film that there's some part of him that's still alive. He'll learn the hard way that there is not. Harvey is dead, and he is never coming back. There's only Two-Face now. This will be the biggest challenge for Bruce in this film, but he'll be able to get through it through trusting Robin, Gordon, and Selina. Batman will be forced to have to learn to trust other people, to let other people trust him, and to, above all else, trust himself. And this is one of the biggest reasons, the main reason, I put Robin in this film. But, okay, no more stalling, no more delaying for dramatic effect. You waited long enough. It's about time I told you which Robin I picked for this film. Tim Drake. Probably weren't expecting that, were you? I know it seems like an odd choice, but let me explain. For this film, and assuming I make other videos talking about sequel films, which I will, I really want to see the Bat family. Now, of course, I want to build up to it naturally and not just throw everyone in there all at once. I want it to grow naturally, but I really want to start showing the family in these films as soon as possible. And to do that, I felt like the best first choice for Robin was Tim. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about Dick? And don't worry, I do have an explanation for that. For another video that I might make about this hypothetical film. Moving on, let's go back to Robin. The other Robin. And like I said, Robin will be the key to Batman stopping Two-Face. And when he does, and sends Two-Face to Gotham Asylum, Batman would think about Harvey. There's still a part of him that hopes one day, just maybe, he'll get to see his friend again. Batman has learned a lot for this chapter, harshly and pretty heavily, but what he has learned and the knowledge he's gained from this chapter of his life will shape him into being the Batman he needs to be, into being Gotham's Knight. And that's it. That's the video. Now, I know, now you're probably wondering why this video is a little bit shorter than my other videos, especially since my other videos talked about franchises that are a lot less complex and serious than the franchise I'm talking about in this video. This video, I really wanted to just go into characters and character arcs and just get a lot more personal enjoyment for me for this video. It's very personal to me, and that's the main reason for its shortness, but I promise all of you for this video, my next few videos, the quality has not dropped in any way. I'm still working as hard as I can for these videos, regardless of the length. Which leads to my second thing. The next few videos will be coming out sooner because I will be trying out something new. There's something new I've been wanting to try for a while, and I'm going to be giving it a go for our very next video. We'll be going back and forth between this storytelling genre and this new video. So stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, of course, if you want. And, yeah. I'm Batman.